Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe and not sick, which is something I have failed to do. My lungs are like the size of grapes right now. It's fantastic. But it's okay. I'm in a positive mood, and that's because this showed up today. Hawas Fire from Rasasi. Cost about 41 bucks, which is gonna change a little bit depending on conversion rate from Canadian to US. That is because it is available right now at fragrancebuy.ca, which I will have linked in the description in case you wanna check this one out. I think as of right now, that's pretty much the only place that's got it, so yeah. So Rasasi has been busy with the Hawas here lately. Obviously, they're trying to take this line, flesh it out, make it bigger, and make it basically the flagship Rasasi lineup. Because of course there is the original Hawas, then Hawas Ice. We had Hawas Black not that long ago. And here recently, Hawas Elixir has been announced. Yes, that's right. Rasasi is getting in on that sweet, sweet elixir action. Yeah. It's never gonna stop, is it? Is the elixir, is it here with me right now? Is it? Oh my God. Oh my God, the elixirs are behind me. Play it cool, play it cool. I love all the elixir fragrances being announced. They're usually the best. Are they leaving? Okay, good. Oh God. But yeah, there's a new Hawas elixir that's gonna be coming out soon, but none of that matters today. What matters is this guy right here, Hawas Fire. What do you say we kick things off, as we always do, by taking a little look at the presentation, and we can start breaking down what this one is, how it smells, if it's worth it, all that good stuff. And if my voice sounds a little rough today, guys, I apologize. I have been fighting some crud. So there's actually a few different videos that I've filmed here over the past few days that probably aren't gonna come out right in a row, but when you catch one of the sick videos, you'll know. All right, let's check it. So here we have the box. You have right there on the front, name of the fragrance along with the flanker name. It is a 100 ml size bottle, eau de parfum concentration. Has like this kind of diamond bumped snakeskin pattern around where it says Hawas. And the overall design aesthetic is actually really similar to Aventus. Just in terms of like that black and gray design that goes across the box. I mean, that looks basically the exact same as the wrapper on Aventus, right? So obviously, little inspiration taken right there. You have nothing on the sides. On the back, it says Rasasi. You have the concentration once again. Then on the bottom, you have your ingredients and your badge code. My bottle was manufactured January 2025. Here we've got the bottle, nice gradient on there. You have red up at the top, goes to black at the bottom. You've got the name of the fragrance on the front of the bottle as well. Cap is black this time, says Rasasi on top of the cap. You have a little sticker on the bottom, and the cap does click into place. That was kind of satisfying. What do you say we share a couple sprays? Here we go. Nice atomizer. All right, Hawas Fire. How does this one smell? How does it come across? Well, much like Rasasi Hawas Black, when that one first came out, there's a little confusion as to what this is supposed to actually be. So when Hawas Black was first announced, the word on the street was this is Absolute Aventus, which made sense. All black bottle, you know, Absolute Aventus, very popular fragrance, and it's also very expensive, which is a lot of times what clone fragrances are trying to do, right? Take something very expensive, give it to you for less. But then it turned out that Hawas Black was actually more similar to Hasavat from Nashane. Not the exact same, of course, but closer to that style than Absolute Aventus. And with this one, the first word was, oh, it's kind of like Eros Flame meets Dior Sauvage, which with the name Hawas Fire, Eros Flame, you can see where that's not much of a big stretch, right? Like, oh, okay, yeah, I could see that, I could see that. Now I'll tell you that to me, it does not come across like Eros Flame mixed with Dior Sauvage. It's something completely different from that. But I think this is also gonna be the type of fragrance that isn't necessarily truly a one-to-one with anything out there. It's kind of like its own thing, maybe taking inspiration from something, which I'll get to in a second, but you know, not the exact same. Because when it comes to Middle Eastern fragrances, the first thing people ask is, what's it a clone of, right? And the expectation there going in for a lot of people is that it's just kind of trying to be a one-to-one with something else. But that's not always the case. Sometimes you'll have fragrances that come out that are kind of doing their own thing. Maybe they're taking some inspiration from something else, but they're putting a twist on it. That's what we always like to say, right? With a twist. Let's go ahead really quickly and dive into the note breakdown for this one, because there's a little confusion there as well. So if you go to, for example, Fragrantica or Parfumo, you'll see these notes. Off the top, clary sage; in the mid, marine notes and jasmine; in the base, mineral notes, ambergris and amber, which is kind of a confusing note breakdown for a fragrance named Hawas Fire, because that note breakdown looks more like Acqua di Gio, or more specifically Acqua di Gio Profondo or Profondo Parfum, something like that. You know, minerality, a little bit of white florals, aqua notes. And so a lot of people are like, hey, what's the deal with that note breakdown? It's wrong, because the note breakdown on Rasasi's own website for this fragrance is different. So people are asking, where did Fragrantica get these notes? Where did Parfumo get these notes? And the answer is actually also Rasasi. Yeah, Rasasi just, I think, doesn't really have their stuff together on their website at this point, so oops. If you look at the listing for Hawas Fire on Rasasi's website, you'll see in the description, the note breakdown is that note breakdown I just gave you. It says, top note, clary sage, French; mid note, jasmine Egyptian, marine; base note, ambergris, mineral, amber. So that's where they got the note breakdown from Rasasi. But you're like, wait, you just said that Rasasi has a different note breakdown also, right? Yes, on that exact same page, which I think is also kind of screwed up. So I'm going to give you what I feel like the note breakdown probably is supposed to be. I know it's kind of confusing. I'm just trying to give you all the information here. So top notes: apple, bergamot, lemon, cinnamon; mid notes, orange blossom, cardamom, plum; base, patchouli, gray amber, driftwood, and musk. But the way that they have it listed on the website right now is having the base notes be the lemon and apple and everything else, whereas you and I both know lemon, apple, bergamot, those ain't base notes. So yeah, they've got it a little bit reversed, but that note breakdown I just gave you, that is what comes across to me as the actual note breakdown here. And the reason I bring that up is because if you go look right now on Fragrantica, you'll see a bunch of people saying this has got to be Acqua di Gio Profondo. This has got to be Profondo Parfum, Profondo Lights. It's not. It isn't at all. If you compare this side by side with those Acqua di Gios, they're very different. So when you first spray this on, it's got a nice sweetness to it, a little bit fresh as well. You get a good dose of that apple along with the citrus. So yes, apple, lemon, bergamot, you pick that up in the opening here. But it also has this like clean aspect to it. The orange blossom comes through pretty noticeably in the opening and the mid as well. In the far dry down, Hawas Fire is more about amber. So it's this kind of warm, sweet amber, you know, the carried over spices and fruits from the mid. Those basically sit over top of a nice ambery base. So the leather aspect of the fragrance, again, not super prominent, but that fades away a bit. And then it becomes more about the amber, the warm spices, the sweetness. My wife thought it smelled absolutely amazing. And it is a little bit reminiscent of a fragrance out there. Not the exact same, but kind of in the same ballpark. Maybe like 70%, 75, something like that, which is Guisa's Imperial Valley, which is a pretty popular fragrance. There are a number of different alternatives out there to that one. It's kind of like a twist on that DNA, at least to me. Obviously, other people may interpret it differently and say, I don't think it's that close to that fragrance at all, but to me, it's kind of like riffing on that a little bit sweeter than that one. Maybe a touch more freshness when you first spray it on. And as it dries down compared to Imperial Valley has a little bit more of like a leathery muskiness that comes out, which to some people might actually be a little bit more off-putting compared to Hawas Fire. But still, it's kind of in that wheelhouse, kind of in that style a little bit. So yeah, back to how this one smells on its own, kind of comparing it to anything else. Apple citrus off the top. The citrus fades really quickly. The apple lingers a little bit longer. Cardamom and cinnamon kind of work together. It's more like just a warm, kind of, like I said, sweet, spicy accord. It doesn't hit me like, oh, really strong cinnamon or cardamom. They're just kind of blended together. And then more so, it's this orange blossom plum combination that grabs hold of you in the mid. That's really what captures your attention with this one. So that orange blossom is giving you more like this little fresh pop, you know, that white floral boost. And then the plum is underneath that. It's a little bit deeper, a little bit more like touch syrupy. And then it does pick up a little bit of a leathery aspect to it, even though that's not an official note, which is again gonna tie it in a little bit with Imperial Valley. Not a full-on super strong leather, just kind of a nuance of it. But that leather aspect does linger So even though it's not overtly powerful or taking the fragrance over, it lingers, it makes itself known, and it kind of works together with the residual sweet, spicy aspects from the opening and the mid, along with a little bit of a woody aspect also as it dries. For me, it's gonna be more like a fall, winter time kind of fragrance. Spring also, I'd say, not really a summertime fragrance. Even though it's got fresh aspects to it, it is a bit heavy at times. So definitely not something you want to wear when it's like really hot outside, or you're going to be around a lot of people doing something actively when it's like 80, 90 degrees Fahrenheit out. Don't know why I specified Fahrenheit there, because I know nobody is expecting me to say Celsius, but yeah. And I think this one is good either daytime or evening. So realistically, you can use it whenever you want, outside of when it's really hot. And performance-wise, pretty good. Projects well, lasts a long time. Not as strong as Hawas Black, but that's to be expected. Hawas Black is kind of a nightmare. When you spray it on your skin and it just leaves this oil slick that takes like 30 minutes to dissipate. I mean, if you're after monstrous longevity, performance, all that stuff, then Hawas Black is great. Don't get me wrong. It's just like, don't accidentally spray it anywhere near a white shirt, right? It'll stain it, is what I'm saying. So yeah, while this one does have great staying power, nothing to complain about. Not quite as strong as Black, but that's not a bad thing. So for me, what we have here with Hawas Fire is a presentation that is vaguely reminiscent of Creed Aventus in terms of the box, and then a name that maybe harkens to Arrow's Flame, like I said before. And then with a note breakdown, at least an initial note breakdown, the first one that was given, that turned out to be not correct, that's more similar to Acqua di Gio Profondo. And then ultimately, what the fragrance actually is, at least for me, is something a little reminiscent of Imperial Valley, with some twists and changes made along the way. More of an emphasis on sweet fruits, warm spices, not quite as much of an emphasis on the musky aspect as it dries. A little bit of a leather kind of feel like Imperial Valley, just not quite as far there. And I would say overall, made a little bit easier to wear for more people than Imperial Valley is. Not that that's some crazy hard to wear fragrance or anything. It's just this one I feel was done with a little bit more attention paid to that. You know, just overall versatility, compliment factor, that type of stuff. For the overwhelming majority of people, at least in the US, that smell this, it's not gonna be something where they smell it and go, oh, that smells like Imperial Valley with a twist, right? It's gonna be its own thing. So I would imagine that's how most people are gonna kind of approach this one. And for 40 bucks, I think it's really solid because you get the performance, the versatility, the compliment factor, and it's a little bit unique. A little bit. You know, it's not like another The Most Wanted, basically, is what I'm saying. It's a little unique. Oh, and the quality, really good. Like, you don't have to do any maturation, whatever Asian you like to call it. It's ready to rip as soon as you get this. I mean, I got this in today, sprayed it on, wore it, scrubbed it off after it had dried down, sprayed it on again. Smells good, nothing smells out of place. You know, it's not one of those ones where you're like, oh, opening's rough, let it dry for 5-10 minutes, none of that. Good to go right away. So there we go, guys. Hawas Fire, again, as of this video, available at fragrancebuy.ca, which is linked down below. Thank you guys for hanging with me. We'll see how Hawas Elixir is pretty soon. Who knows what they're coming with next after that. I imagine they've probably got a lot queued up because, yeah, I've never seen Hawas after Hawas like this before, so Rasasi must be cooking something up. I guess they've decided that they're going to enter the fray with like Lattafa and Armaf and all that stuff, so we'll see what they do. Thank you guys for hanging with me. If you smell this one, let me know what you think about it. Stay safe out there, guys. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.